Well, goddamn, look at that. The one and only Anna Applegate. How we doing, player?
We're doing great. How are you, Matt?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to tonight. Thanks for doing the monthly muse. I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to the one on the 23rd as well at Radio Artifact.
Me too. That's going to be a blast. I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
Before we go anywhere, I gotta say, you crushed at the cookout. Just ridiculous set. So good.
Thank you. That was so amazing. You guys did amazing too. I'd never seen you play in a full band, and that was like a whole experience. So like I've started talking to people like if you haven't seen Matt Waters full band, you got to see it because it's so
Thanks,
good.
man. Well, like as you've experienced, and I know you kind of talked about, building up your band recently. I like to hop into that, but being
Yeah.
able to delegate some of these things frees you up to embrace this set in a whole different way, and the audience gets to feel that. Like if I'm up there doing the loops, I have so much more on the mind than oh no, the horn section's about to bump. Like I'm just gonna smile and swing.
Yep. Yep.
So tell me about this experience of you kind of came back into your songwriting career 110 miles an hour recently. Like when did that begin again for you?
Yeah, so it began probably like I would say I started going back to some live music things that I've enjoyed in the past for years. I've been a part of Jess Lamb and the Factory, that band on and off for like I don't know how long. It's been a really long time. But I've started going back to those and that's when I started singing again because anytime I'm near Jess, she's like, "Here's a mic."
Microphone. So you got
So
that peer pressure.
yeah, she's like, the mic's ready for you. It's hot. So I started jumping on that. It was really encouraging and was going through some really crazy life stuff at the time. So it was like medicine for me. It was like getting me through some really tough life circumstances. And so that started inspiring me to like, wait a second, what have I been doing here really? Like I know that the music is there for me to heal and I haven't been relying on this. So I started just writing again, and it was hard because I hadn't written in a long time. But things have just started flowing since. Like
Yeah.
I've been able to write a lot. I've been able to go through a lot of emotions and work through a lot of hard emotions that I'm dealing with, and it's a healing process. It's like the best thing I can do for my grief.
That's awesome. And it's an odd muscle group to be in kind of like the writing motion. But I think especially when you take a little bit of time off and you come back to it, you find a new sense of organization. Like how do you kind of catch songs in the initial inspiration of them?
So a lot of the time I am a big like I think of something and I record it right away on my phone. I'll always go back to those later. If I like and I usually have like a in my head I'll be like this day I'm going to just sit with my music and see what comes about because I know that I've been doing little voice memos throughout my week of just something that will pop in my head, which a lot of the time that's just me thinking through. That's literally just me processing my life.
Yeah.
And something will stick that I'm thinking about. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. And maybe it'll be a lyric, or maybe I'll put that into a lyric or something. So I feel like I process a lot with voice memos and going
Yeah.
back to them.
And so
But
those are kind of standalone lyric and melody. There's not a lot of guitar work until you have these sit down days.
yeah, absolutely. And it's really interesting doing it that way because in the moment I'll hear it. I'll hear the lyric or whatever in a very specific way and I'll usually deliver it in such way. And then when I go back sometimes I'm like, well, I'm completely changing that because now I want to do these chords with it.
Yeah.
Or put that one lyric in a song that I've almost completely completed already, which I feel like my songs are like puzzle pieces. And it's always been that way for me for writing. It's
y-
always been that way. Even with like schoolwork when I was growing up, writing a paper. Sorry, that's my cat. um, writing a paper. Sorry. Um,
Yes.
Hi, this is Bobby.
What a
He's
willing
got dice
participant.
on the ground. I don't know how he got a dice, but he did.
Good for him. I mean, gambling addiction starts at a young age. I mean, he's
Loves
probably
it.
3 or 4. Yeah, he'll be slinging dice soon.
Yeah.
My cat, if I want to pick him up, it's a two-handed grab every time. Like he won't willingly stay with me. And he
Yeah.
also, I never knew this until I forget what show we were watching. My wife and I were watching something. They're like, which side? Oh, we were watching Suits. Have you ever watched Suits?
Mm-mm, no, I haven't.
Okay. There's a character in the show named Lewis that's cat obsessed. And he says, which side does he prefer to be held on? And I never realized that cats have a specified side that they prefer to be on you. At least once he
Wow.
said that, I realized, okay, that's why my cat only climbs my left shoulder for some odd
Oh,
reason.
that's so cute.
And he doesn't want to be like here. He wants to be like above my head. Like he
Uh,
definitely has a
yeah.
domination kind of thing where it's got to be on the left and he's got to be like up. So I'm just holding him two hands on butt, you know?
Oh, that's cute.
But
Yeah,
when
he's still pretty little. He's actually just turned a year old in September.
oh.
So I still pick him up by his neck like a mommy. Like I treat him like I'm his mommy. He knows too. He's very sweet and affectionate.
I've seen animals do that to other animals. I've never done that to a cat because it confuses me. But it does seem like there's a calming effect to that, you know?
It's wild and weird. I did not believe the person who told me that you could do that. And I was like, no, that's no way. Like they're gonna freak out on you. Cause like you think like with a dog, if you did that to a dog, they'd like attack you.
Yes, guaranteed.
They'd be so angry. But like the cat completely, they see it as like, oh, it's mom. And they're being carried. So they'd literally just like loosen up and just whatever. I always do it when he's like acting up. I'll just hold his neck and he'll be like, all right, I'm chill.
The closest thing I know to that is there's a part of my family that shares an obsession of English bulldogs,
Oh,
which may not be the most ethical of animal, but just the cutest, jowliest, ugliest, but sweetest thing in the world.
yeah.
And there was one that loved to swim. These aren't buoyant creatures, okay? So we put it in this life vest that had like handles on it. She could pick it up by the handle on this life vest, and then it really does look like just like a sad camper. It's just like, come on, let me. It was kind of gross at the end of the day, but I loved that shit.
That's adorable.
Yeah. But going back to like the kind of working through the puzzle pieces of it. So when you
Yeah.
pull out these voice memos, have you already been tinkering on whatever the chordal instrument is for the day? Or does that kind of follow the inspiration of, okay, I picked this one, I liked it for a reason, and now I'm letting it kind of guide me here?
It can go either way, really. It can kind of go both ways where like sometimes it'll be that idea first that leads into that guitar part and it'll come from what I sounded like almost in my voice memo or what I was thinking. And then sometimes I will, go with what I hear on the guitar to do something like some melodic thing that I really like or enjoy playing. And then I'm like, okay, I should try to put some lyrics to this because I've been working with this for a while. And
Yeah,
so I'll play some on that too. So
very nice. And has opening up like the instruments that you play changed the way that you look at that accompaniment, like picking up banjo and kind of having these multiple funnels to go through?
yes, absolutely. And like I've noticed that well, I think it's also like part of it is still a little bit of a limitation for me on the banjo because I don't know all the chords like I do on a guitar. Like on a guitar I know what I'm doing basically, but the banjo there's still chords that I don't know how to play even, so I'm kind of working with a certain amount of chord progressions and that's fine too, but it is influencing my music and influencing what I play on it. And so I did notice that yesterday. I was trying to write a new song about like walking out of something hard and being your own hero. And I was playing it on the banjo and I was like, this is not going to work. Like, cause it just sounded too joyful. I was like, this just sounds like so, it's got to be serious. So I switched over guitar and it sounded much better on that. So
Yeah,
as an example, but I find myself writing a lot of like happier sounding music on the banjo. I don't know
interesting.
why.
Well,
I
I'm
think
a firm
the feeling it gives me, honestly.
yeah, I'm a firm believer that certain instruments have songs to them as much as we have songs to us. Like there's something
Mhm.
kind of predisposed about you and that thing that's gonna lead you somewhere. You know,
Yeah.
not that banjo to me screams like this is my happy place, but like if it is, it has something for you to share to other people, and it found you in that way. Like it's very
Yeah.
odd. What gave you the push to be like, I'm gonna buy a fucking banjo?
So actually, I had been thinking of buying one for years, and just because I always love the sound of it, I like listening to folk music, and I'm a Kentucky girl, So like that stuff's awesome to me. But also my grandpa Applegate on my dad's side, who owns a farm in Indiana, he grew up listening to banjo and like it's his favorite instrument. He praised that he used to play it when he was young. And so I just heard a lot about it and I loved it. And so I always wanted to. My sister had one when I was growing up and she didn't really get into it. And I was always angry because I was like, play your banjo, because she wouldn't let me, but like she wouldn't play it enough herself.
Yeah. So it's just
So
kind of sitting unloved.
yeah, I was like, love your banjo. But then she ended up moving out, and years later I was on my own, and I still was thinking like I still want a banjo, and so I started saving for it. But I went over to my grandparents one day. I was at my parents' house. They live right next to my grandparents. And so I walked over there one day when my great uncle Dean was there, and he is like the musical pinnacle of our family. It's my Uncle Dean and Uncle Gene, and they're twins. And no joke, I'm not kidding you. Their real first names are Wesley and Leslie.
And they
So,
went with Dean and Gene.
and that's their middle names, Dean and Gene. So, anyways, it's very
These are my
sweet.
new heroes. Like there
So,
has to be. Are they both still alive and well?
no, one of them has passed,
Okay.
but Uncle Dean is still with us, and he is the one who actually gifted me two banjos. Like, I did not have to pay for my banjos because I went over there the day he was visiting, and he gave me my first guitar as well when I was 12 years old. But we were talking about banjos, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm saving up for one. I've been looking, I've been going and playing them," and he was like, wait a second, stay right here. And he just left. He left our grandparents' house for like 45 to an hour. And we were worried because like he's an old guy. We're like, he just disappeared and he's been gone for this long now. And he came back holding two banjos and was like, you don't need to go buy anything. These are for you. These were waiting for you.
That that is outstanding.
Amazing. So I have two vintage banjos. One of them very vintage. One of them is like it has paperwork. It's like from the 70s or something. Um, and it's beautiful. And it's a what is that called? The louder ones. I forget what they're called.
Like a resonator?
A resonator. Yeah, yeah. So that one's a resonator with a beautiful imprint of an eagle inside of it. The other one is a recording king, and it sounds incredible. And it's an open back. So as soon as he gifted those to me, I was like, all right, time to start writing. Like I have
Yeah.
to do this justice.
There needs to be a song called Dean and Gene. Like this is
Oh yeah, I have
outstanding.
a song about them. It's called Kentucky Born and Raised.
Please play that tonight. I am so
I will.
curious now.
I
Cool,
will.
cool.
Yeah, it's all about them. So they have a very interesting story in my family. My great uncle Dean and Jean were the first like musicians in our family who actually played like in the Cincinnati area. So they were very active in the Covington area like in the 60s and 70s as teenagers.
And was this a cover gig? Was this them writing material and taking it to
They
bars or
wrote some stuff, but they also loved rock. So they were doing a lot of rock covers. They loved the Eagles. They're big on the Eagles.
on banjos or playing guitars?
Banjo, guitar, bass,
Okay.
a lot. They were so talented, especially my uncle Dean. He had like I don't know how many instruments he played, like too many to count.
Yeah.
And then my uncle Gene, he actually had a motorcycle accident when he was like in his 50s and he lost like three fingers on his playing hand, and he plays bass, and he's just rock and roller, and he still played anyways. He just learned to play without fingers. So that was a cool thing to watch as a kid. Like my fingerless uncle playing an instrument.
Yeah. So was this like family parties they're always busting it out, or did you kind of find out later in life as you became interested?
No, it was our whole family was extremely musical. So like all of my cousins are very musical too, and only one of them, well actually I have a cousin on each side that record music today. And so there's Joshua Ferguson, who's an artist, and there's Jared Applegate, who's an artist. And like, but I have so many cousins who are talented, who can sing or really well play an instrument. And it's just a part of their life. They're not like using it as I am, but shouldn't say using it. I just said the other day, I don't want to ever say using music because it sounds like I just don't want to go there with it. I want to be like leaning in it, not on it.
Mm. But it's like saying you're utilizing a language that you
There you go.
speak. You know,
Yeah.
like there's one thing that I've always found interesting about folks that are bilingual is like between words and meaning, once you have a variety of options, especially like across that barrier, you can get more to like the contour of a word and what that purpose is. So being able to use music versus using language to describe something gets you closer to the context of what you might be feeling, whether this is a moment of grieving or it is this joyful thing that's like, I can't tell you how good it feels to play a banjo, so I'm just gonna play you this fucking banjo. You understand me now? You
Right.
know?
Right.
So you have
Exactly.
two cousins that are singer-songwriters?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So,
When do we get that
Joshua
family
Ferguson,
round? That needs to happen.
right. I honestly, I would die of happiness if I could play a show with my cousins. Honestly,
Let's make
one
that
of
happen.
one of them lives in Indiana. He's so talented. Jared Applegate has been in like some really awesome punk bands, and now he's doing his own solo stuff. And it's beautiful, like acoustic, straight from the heart, like meaningful songs. And I'm like so inspired by it that he's doing that and going in that direction with his music.
Yeah.
And my other cousin, he's me and him are very similar. Me and Joshua grew up singing together. And I mean, like they lived like 10 minutes away from us. So I would go over to their house all the time throughout the week and play music with Joshua.
That's so
So,
cool.
yeah, we definitely love singing together. He has a beautiful voice. I know he has music out too. His name's Joshua Ferguson. So
Yeah. Let's do a so the radio artifact sets are a little bit different. We do 2 rounds of 3 artists since this is like the film version of it. Why don't
you're
we
right.
pick one like for later in next year where we can
Yeah,
just have the Applegate trifecta?
heck yes, I would
Cool,
love
yeah. You just let me know a month and we'll figure that out. I think we're doing like only doing once a quarter for next year. So
that.
we'll talk about those dates, but I would
Family
love to
stuff.
see. Do you find there to be something weird between family members and music where it's like uh when if I'm high enough, I truly believe in telepathy. If I'm sober, sometimes I'm not convinced, but especially between family, there is that inclination, whether it's you and your mother and that maternal feeling of like every time I'm coming back from a road trip, whether it's 5:30 in the morning or 11 at night, my mom texts me like, "Glad you're home." And I know
Oh,
she has my location, so I'm a little less convinced, but at the same time, I'm like,
it's me
she
and
has
my mom.
a weird calling to check that thing and to call me about it. So it's like,
Yeah.
all right, cool. Uh, so growing up singing with, did you say it was Joshua?
Yeah, Joshua.
Did you find a blend of voices to be tighter and more synergistic because it's family?
I think absolutely with him. With him, it was like I still to this day, there's been probably one other person in my life that I could like, when you're just like hitting a flow as a singer, when you're hitting a flow with another singer and it's almost like you watch your melodies like combine and it just becomes this thing where it's constant and there's no breaking apart. And that's like how it was when I was singing as a kid with him. It was
That's
like
awesome.
we were both able to harmonize with each other and know when to switch with melody and harmony without discussing it at all, and we would do it all the time, like, and it would just sound really pretty, but we weren't trying to do it. It was just happening and really naturally. So
Yeah.
I honestly do believe in that.
I feel like horn players have that same kind of thing where it's like watching people fly F-16s next to each other. It's like the chance of collision is very real, but you
Right,
stay right in that sweet spot.
right, and it's just like creating this beautiful thing.
Yeah. Have you watched Trailer Park Boys?
Yes.
You remember that clip where Leahy's talking about he's like, "I got this breathalyzer so I can stay right in the slot." Okay? That's that's perfect harmony with somebody. You're right in the slot, you know?
Yeah,
It's like, "Good, time to have another drinky poo, Ran," you know what I'm saying?
right, right. Chug
Ho
another water.
Yeah. How much has like, one of the things I really loved about coming to the Thursday night show at, Queen City Radio
Yeah.
is watching this, uh really ebb and flow, improvised kind of open jam happen without it being called that necessarily. Like Jess, Jess is a wonderful leader of that kind of thing because she does not care if she's in front or the back or she's at the bar. She's like, let's just keep pushing the thing how it goes.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed watching you and Tiffany because I've known Tiffany for a number of years, but I've never known her as much in the original music kind of category. So
Hmm.
watching you two just think and work and kind of play off each other uh, really stirred a level of creativity in my mind just as a listener to walk home with. It's like you fill
Nice.
your cup in different ways, but that was something special to watch.
Awesome. I love hearing that. Honestly, it's another thing. I think it's like, it's all about communication too. I think sometimes it is because when it's a band full of people that have known each other for, like, some of us, like me and Jess have known each other for years and years and years. Me and Tiff just met earlier this year. And like, because we like made an effort and formed a friendship, we started hanging out, going to the pool together, talking, just singing together for fun, just like literally hanging out. And I'll sing, burst into something, and she'll sing with me. Like, it's just instant like that. And I think that that's another example of like this like synergy thing happening where we are making connection with our heart and our brains. And so when we're singing together, we're really on the same page. There's no like, there's no wall and there's no ego getting in our way. We know we're friends. We know we have each other's back, and we know that we're going to give each other grace too. So it's like,
Yeah.
I love that. Like, there's a lot of people that will try to kind of put a, I don't think they're trying to, but they do kind of put a fear on other people with singing. And I think that Jess's whole situation at QCR is a great way to say we are not doing that. Like, we want there to be open expression. There's no shame in that. Like, you should be able to sing this one verse that was going through your head on your own for 3 minutes during their song. Like, I love that Jess is like, yes, say that phrase, because it gets people out of their little fear bubble and to really get something out of what was going on in their head in the music. It's like, and it adds to it. Everyone loves it.
It really does, and, like, you have to check expectations to do that, like,
Mhm.
it was something very different than I've gotten to participate in musically, just watching, like, you sang something about spiders, and then for 5 minutes, it evolved into this thing, and by the end, you're like, "I don't even remember how I initially felt about this idea, but I am caught in Charlotte's fucking web. We are way too deep in this for me to get out," you know?
Exactly. It was just, yeah, that was honestly so fun. And like, I've thought about that song ever since, and I keep thinking like I gotta record that. It was very groovy.
Yeah.
It was very yeah, but that was fun. I'm glad you were there for that. That's not it. That was definitely not an every time situation at all. That was super random. And we
That
all
was a hot jam. I mean, y'all were killing, Silmar came out there, was killing, Jess is throwing down. It was crazy.
spiders.
It was
Yeah,
cool.
it was
But
fun.
but playing catch with those kind of ideas is also difficult because when you try to, um, when you try to receive those ideas to take away and put somewhere, like lightning in a bottle is real, especially in a jam like that, and it's
Yeah.
hard to regurgitate what was special about that idea once you're removed from whatever that aura is, like
I know. We talk about it all the time. That's our main conversation between our band, is that we have so many natural moments when we are live that we talk about, like, well, we could live record it, but then again that kind of takes away from the live experience.
mm,
But yeah, it's a thing that we talk about all the time, is that like getting into a recording studio and trying to reproduce what we did in a live situation is not going to be the same. It's just not going to have the same effect.
yeah. I find it best just to build an apparatus that's really simple to play catch with, because if I have to think about setting it up, now it's a pain in the ass, and I feel the pressure of my preparation of that thing. But if it's just one line, all right, now I'm
Yeah.
recording it, so at least I can remember what that is. Like,
Hmm.
I'm trying to remember the guy, uh Baby, I Love Your Way, Peter Frampton.
Yeah,
Frampton Comes Alive is one of the greatest live albums of all time, at least in Rolling Stone standards and my own. But
love.
that wasn't like a tonight's the night kind of a deal. They recorded the whole tour and they looked back and they said, "Oh, that one." And I feel like that level of freedom permits special moments. Because if you try to lock in and say, "This is it, this is it, this is it,"
Yeah,
now you have expectations, and
yeah.
those will rattle the mind in a way that you don't care for.
Expectations kill creativity, in my opinion. Like, there, you shouldn't have an expectation for yourself because you're already putting yourself in a limiting mind space for your art. You're already putting yourself in a box and saying, this is what I'm going to do. But meanwhile, your art may want to pop the heck out of that box and do something completely different. And
Mm.
if you're not open to that in your brain, you're not going to get there. And then you lose that. You lose the magic little situation that could have happened.
Yeah, but I do think there's something really special to be had in bands and in songwriter environments where we all kind of raise the bar of what we want from the evening. Like, especially in a band where if we're playing this song for the fifth time this week and all we're doing at night is hopping in a van, going to a hotel, waking up the next day and doing it again,
Right.
there is that kind of unspoken pressure of I don't want to let these guys down. You know, they
Yeah.
know me at my best and they know me at my worst. So I'm going to prepare to give them my all, but also feeling like you said, we give each other a little bit of grace. A little bit of grace to venture into the unknown and try to pull something out of it.
Exactly.
And if not, there's a rope around your waist and I will get you out of this spelunking expedition that you went on.
Yeah, it's so important. It's so important to have that room for little slip ups too, because also we've noticed in our situation with Jesslyn with Factory, the open jam, if one of us slips, a lot of the time it slips into something different but not bad, like something
Mm,
creative. And people are so good at doing that in our everyone that plays an instrument in our band, they'll play something a little bit off and it'll go something completely different and it sounds awesome. Like they always recover.
yeah. Well, it's a special group of players, and uh, I
Yeah.
think it's one of those really odd things in Cincinnati that there's not a lot of that happens. When you look at the folks that are on that bandstand, it's people that you see in every musical community in the city, whether it's guys like Nate or it's gonna be yourself or it's gonna be someone like Chris. It's like these are folks that have touched on so many different genres and movements of music in the city. And so
Definitely.
there's no real limitation of how this thing can shape up. We just gotta let it get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's also a huge part of why we are sounding the way we do together, because we are all coming from very different ideas and different tastes and different music that we've all done separately. And now we've come together and we're bringing all of those juices together. And it's just like coming into this beautiful cocktail now.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I love it.
And so as your songwriting has really excelled in the last couple months, and you've also had this kind of full band opportunity just to play, where does that shape up for studio or full band renditions of your material?
Yeah. So for me, I have formed my own band now, outside of my other things that I'm doing, my other, what do you say, projects, I guess. But I am doing my own solo music with a full band now, and I'm doing our where you have our debut show is December 14th at Motor. So
Cool.
we're just like
What day of the week is that?
practicing until then. I think it's a Saturday.
Fuck. December 14th? Okay,
Hmm.
I got a Christmas party that night, but once I'm finished up, I'm gonna try to bust my ass down to Motor. What time do you think you go on?
Um, I think we'll probably go on second. I would assume maybe last. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how slots work at Motor. They're always asking me, which one would you prefer? And I'm like, I prefer any. I just
Yeah,
want to
I
play.
do think middle slot is the way to go,
I think so too
especially
on
when you're
the
on the road. Yeah, on a weekend, you wanna be prime time with the folks that they brought, the folks that they brought, and the folks that you brought, you know?
yeah,
Like, there's There's a
Don't
definite sweet spot.
upset anyone with playing like super late. I know that I'm gonna be inviting like my whole family
Yes.
because it's my first time playing with a full band. And
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, I'm really excited. I've got Chris Robinson playing guitar. He might also play some banjo or bass. We don't know, but he
I
sings.
adore that man. He's such a musical treasure for the city.
He's so
Also, he told me that there might be new Young Heirloom stuff, but he didn't tell me when. He just teased me with
oh,
it.
there he's
Now
teasing me too. I've
now I'm
heard.
all upset.
I'm
You heard
excited.
some of it?
I've heard him say the same thing. He does.
Okay,
He
okay.
is saying they're writing new stuff. So
I thought you were
uh,
saying you heard some of it, and I was like, God damn
hopefully I
it.
will. I have been meeting with Kelly too because we're doing our the Northside Tavern Halloween show together.
Oh shit.
We're doing a '90s pop cover band called Lisa Frankenstein.
Cool. Cool. On
Yes.
Halloween night?
No, so it's the last weekend of the Halloween, whatever, the Halloween giant awesome
The,
party that's going to happen from Thursday to Saturday at
yeah, the month-long event.
yeah.
So you'll be Saturday?
Yeah, we're the last. We're closing the situation down.
Cool. I only played till
That's
midnight that night, so I'll try to scoot on over there for that too.
it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have we might have lyrics on the screen so people could sing because we're doing amazing '90s songs. You know, all the awesome hits that we love. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah. So the band situation, we've got Chris, we've got Kelsey Stack from Pretty Mean. She's my bass player, and then I have Jackie Hauser from Mad Queen. She's my drummer, and yeah,
No shit. I was just watching some of those Mad Queen clips from the library, so I was like, "Oh
oh,
my
so
god,
good.
who are these people?"
I watched that too. It was really good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so all of these people, like I have such like my eyes are stars when I'm around them, and it's so amazing to me that I'm playing with them and they're interested in my original music. I feel like super blessed and humbled that they reached out to me and wanted to be part of my music. And
Yeah.
so now we're all working together, getting these songs down tight so that we can start playing as a full band. And I am so happy with how my music is sounding with a full band. It's so different and it's so exciting to go down that avenue.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a handful of folks that bring a level of shareable momentum to the music scene, and it's blind enthusiasm at times, and it's brilliant songwriting, and just like a willingness to work. And I'd say yourself, especially folks like Safa, everything that Siri does. It's
Mm-hmm.
there's folks that are playing for the entire team out here in a really beautiful way, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I also I'm just in love with this music scene right now because it's really that's happening a lot in my experience. A lot of people are very open to working with other artists and yeah, it's like we're just kind of raising this we're raising our music awareness, I think. I think
Yeah.
that people are waking up again and saying, "Oh yeah. Oh yeah, like we've been missing this. We've really been missing this." And I
Yeah.
think that we had a little burst after COVID, I think. And then I think it kind of died down and people just kind of got in their own little bubble again. And now we're experimenting musically. I think a lot of musicians are coming up with a lot of new content right now, too, I've noticed. And so that happening with more gigs happening, with more live music everywhere, I really think people are like remembering music again around this area. And I think it's so beautiful. I have people asking me about shows all the time now too, and that's like so exciting. Like, oh my gosh, you want to know when to come to a musical event? That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I think some of the appeal behind, especially what happens on Thursdays, I don't mean to harp on that too much, but you won't find it online. So much of the music we listen to is kind of deflated by the instant access that you can get online.
Yeah,
Whether that's great live shows or great studio recordings, it's like, why don't you come catch something that's only available right here, right now, for as long as you can stick around?
yeah,
Because that level of intimacy and presence, is harder to come by than ever. And hopefully, as folks find themselves emerging from the TikTok rut or their Facebook Reels rut, you find how fickle that level of entertainment can be versus how overfilling a live experience can be. It's like you walk away with a cup full of something you never knew you needed, and you can
Good way of
put
putting it. Yeah.
it can do so much for your life, whether you're a creative yourself or you're just someone enjoying it. There's more to be had between us in person than we could ever convey through a messenger block.
Exactly. And like the difference between those experiences when you're walking away from your phone watching whatever, a video or a TikTok, whatever, the joy is almost like if I swear only people that know, like only people that have gone through way too much phone time like me and have tried to get away from that know that like putting it down is the immediate like the all the things that you're experiencing are gone immediately. There's nothing to take that like that holds on. But when
Mm,
you're at a live place and you walk away from it, you walk away with memories, you walk away with feelings, you walk away with like legitimate like senses in your nose that you will remember that night from. Like it's the weirdest thing. And
yeah,
so that like instant gratification, the instant thing is like so poisonous in a way because it's a lie, really. Like I mean, it's well, it's not because it says it. It's like instant. It's instant, but what is instant? It's gone. It's gone. It's
yeah.
here and it's gone.
Well, and I always hope that something like this can be the level of companionship that I find inspiring content online to be. Like, hopefully it does something for you. But if you
Yeah.
don't take it anywhere that's tangible, that's real, that is an investment of your time, then there's nothing to show for it. Uh,
Right.
and I think like when people bring up their legacy and what a lifetime really means to folks, like there's a concern of what you leave behind, but there's also a concern of what you take in while you're doing it.
Hmm.
And you have to make sacrifice a certain things, and the phone will be there for you when you get home at the end of the night, but um, just having the opportunity to watch someone be that honest with you in the way that like and especially in your songwriting that I think myself and so many of your listeners feel is this person is going to display the best and the hardest moments of their life in 4 songs, 5 songs, a song. It's there for you. And
Yeah.
I think the more that we can just bring folks' attention to that, the more we can all take away from the experience. There's room for all of the artists in this city, and there's especially room for all of the listeners in this city that just say, "I need a reason to get out of my house and get this off my mind right now."
Absolutely. And it's like it's not just a therapy session for the listener. It's a therapy session for the person singing it. I was at the open mic at Motor last night with Wonky Tonk, and we went up there and sang one of her sets together and sang our song together, which is I don't know if you've heard it, but it's been out since like 2023 called Wings with a Z. It's very cute.
Yeah.
But I love it. We sang it together and it just turned into this magical musical moment where we didn't plan at all. We didn't practice before, but it sounded so cool and it sounded different. We didn't sing it how we normally sing it, but we just went with it. And it was super healing. I felt like she was looking in my eyes and Jasmine is a very close friend of mine as well in real life. So she's looking in my eyes and singing me her lyrics and meaning it like remember your wings, girl, remember how to fly. And it just like it kind of like it stroked me in the heart right then and there. And soon right after that, after her set, I sang mine, and it gave me this open heart to be able to really like feel what I was feeling in the day that I hadn't like met myself. And so when I started singing my own songs, I sang one song and said, "As you guys can see, I'm clearly going through some stuff," because it was just it was coming out through like the bottom of my chest and soul. That's where all of my vocals were coming from, and you could tell. But it's a therapy session, and like I like that two artists can come together and be completely two different kinds of therapy for each other. So
Mm,
like she's a very like healing mother nature type, like I can feel that energy with her, and she's looking at me and I'm really taking it in and learning. And whereas with her, I'm letting go, and I think that that's like my lesson with her is like let go and be able to express this anger.
that's beautiful.
So
It's it, it's it's best to scream it out, like, the more you bottle things up, the more you gotta address the storage room of canned hate, and other bullshit that we carry around, which is sometimes sweet. I mean, you bottle the right thing up, and then you come back and you pour yourself a glass of that, it is weird, and, like, but if you don't have a mechanism for those things like songwriting, it's tough to deal with. Uh
definitely.
but I think the great thing in opening your writing up to all that side of your life is some folks don't have the time like we do to sit down and write something or to learn the instrument to get there. It's like there's a lot of steps. Now there are AI applications at this point where you can get a ditty out of it. I won't deny it's getting easier, but if for you to eloquently put something that they did not know how to say is the ultimate goal of this whole thing.
Yeah.
And uh, the more that we all continue to step up to bat with that and to share the joys and the pitfalls of trying to make that happen, it's healthier than anything else I know.
Yeah.
Besides the yoga, we should all do more yoga. Stretch,
Yes, I
motherfuckers. It's
agree. Oh my gosh, I did. So I've been into yoga for years and years. I've been in many different studios, and I really like when I've gotten into a bad depression hole, the one thing that really can get me out is if I just get my butt up and do yoga. It's
yeah,
so healing. I did it yesterday, and it was I swear it was like a victory for me because I had just been avoiding it and in a depression hole for a little bit. And I got out of it and I was like, you know what? I just got to throw this mat out and I just got to do it. And so I did yoga, and that led into me doing like a full blown workout. And I was like so happy by the end of it that I was
yes.
like, oh man, I should have done this so much earlier.
That
So like,
that realization is visceral.
right. Oh my gosh. But yeah, yoga's like, is so good for you.
Yeah.
It's healing in so many different ways.
Well, I don't know if you ever experienced this, but like the greatest takeaway from me from trying to learn my practice and get more into it is like you can't grip at ideas and hope to make something of it. You can't obsess things into perfection. And especially when I'm trying to go to sleep at night, whether it's a line or something I clearly shouldn't have said to somebody or something ridiculous, like catching yourself in that 15-second loop and
Yeah.
just reliving it is one of the hardest things to break cyclically. And yoga is that great reminder of like by the time you lay down and you say like that is the end of my practice, you should be able to let the thoughts come and go.
Right.
Because if you're preventing the letting go aspect of it, then clearly you are still pent up with knots. So you probably need to go for another hour.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point.
I see you picking up fiddle. You want to run us something on the way out of here today?
Sure, if you'd like to.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
When you come to the studio, we can do this a little more formally. But I always love when folks can share a song, whether it's something new or something you're gonna play tonight.
This is not new. This is a song I've had for a while.
Okay.
Let's meet tonight. I'll swing on by. Hop in my car and I will drive. I need to get away from here. Head to an atmosphere where I can say what's on my mind. Cut the tie of fear that binds. Ooh. never park the car or go inside, singing at the top of my lungs. I feel alive, oh, I feel alive, 'cause every time I'm with you, I seem to fall, fall, fall in love again. Ooh, ooh. Oh, it's 3 a.m., my brain is fried, I can't sleep, you're on my mind, no way I'll fight this feeling now. I'll get to you tonight somehow, while I'm on my way to you. I think of all that we can do, in the end I won't care what we do or even where. Ooh, where. We're driving under the city lights, we never park the car or go inside, oh, singing at the top of my lungs. I feel alive, I feel alive, 'cause every time I'm with you, I seem to fall, fall, fall in love again.
Fucking phenomenal. Anna, you
Yeah.
are a treasure and a bad, bad motherfucker. Thank you so much for coming on today. Next
Yeah.
time, let's do it in person. Once the band's together and doing that, bring everybody over here. Let's do like some in-studio stuff. That'd be
Oh,
fun.
yeah. We'll definitely get giggles out of that.
Cool. Well,
We are all
I'm
a giggle machine together.
well, I'm looking forward to hearing you tonight, and then we got October 23rd for the monthly Muse at Radio Artifact. Is there
Yeah.
anything else you want to promote before we head out?
Um, well, I don't know when this is going to be posted, but this Sunday I'm playing at Motor.
It'll be up in about an hour.
Sweet. Awesome. Yeah. So this Sunday I'm playing at Motor at 8 p.m. with Elijah Love and Christy Swing. So that'll be a great show if you want to stop by.
Fantastic. All right, my friend. Thanks for coming on today. I'll catch you in a bit.
Bye.